Thanks very much, Yanis, and thanks for the invitation that has enabled me to come back to a country which is not close to my work life, but also very close to my heart. And in the years since 2010, Greece and quite a number of other countries have had quite specific experiences with living in a currency union where rules and institutions and economics made a smooth workout of problems more difficult than many of us had anticipated, and it also led to very bumpy relationships with international or European institutions that were engaged in these issues. And this has led to what we usually call the stigmata of an ESM program. And they stem from the fact that if you're in a European Union and a fortiori in a currency union, you share sovereignty to an important part. On the other hand, very many people, and especially political parties, abhor the so-called meddling of outsiders and others in the sovereign decisions of parliaments and governments and so on and so forth. And how do we balance the need for sharing sovereignty and the insistence on national sovereignty, which is one of the reasons why we're no longer 28 member states, but 27 member states. And this, I think, over the last year, we've seen that the RRF provides a possible avenue for bridging this huge dilemma by providing more carrots than sticks that we had in the past. And despite what Declan has been saying is very fine, but the jury, of course, is out to what degree the reform aspirations of the RRF implementation will be achieved in Greece just as much as in other countries. And I'd like to focus now just for a minute or two on an aspect, Yanis has already foreshadowed it, on an aspect that has been with me over the last 20, 30 years in all of the issues that we've been dealing with all member states. And to the disgust of my national government, I repeatedly make these points back home. And those are issues which we comfortably today bunch under the heading of governance. But we need to reflect on how political aspirations are formulated and how they are then translated into successful projects on the ground. How realistic are they? How transparent are they? And they require a purposeful and efficient administration, which is staffed under meritocratic principles. Sounds easy. It requires a pro-competitive, pro-competition environment. It requires a political culture which is comparatively free of cronyism, so that public tenders go to the better firms that don't have padded projects. It requires a media scene which is able to honestly and free of fear and influence describe and analyze what's going on amongst a variety of similar factors. This is what I'd call governance and political culture. And without these factors, countries have weaker investment performance and especially a considerably lower FDI for indirect investment share than others. Mobile young people and their startups tend to migrate towards more rewarding regions. Tax compliance tends to be lower, which limits a proactive role of the state, and so on. So all of us, all member states, have to look where they are in that regard. And I note what Declan was saying, that countries, member states in the south of the Alps have been more successful than countries north of the Alps who've never gone through the rigors call it a training school, the rigors of programs or quasi-programs, as was the case in Italy. And I've often wished my country could have gone through such a program. But to come to a closure, I do note that in the most recent IMD ranking, Greece ranks 55th out of 63 countries in terms of government efficiency. And neither Rome nor Athens were built in a day, but I do remember 12 years ago, we had long discussions and reform proposals on reforming the public administration in Greece. And it's been a long time since we agreed on the diagnosis. We're still waiting for some of the medicine to be administered and some of the medicine to take effect, even though in a certain doses it probably already has. But I think the conclusion is, if we want the RRF and REpowerEU to exceed for the benefit of the Greek economy and the Greek people, then one of the necessary factors will be rapid improvements on professionalization of administrations, of processes, and the greater separation of powers. And Greece has shown in the past that it's capable of great things in terms of reforms and projects. So this should be possible if politicians and powerful economic interests so wish. There is a possibility. Let's hope that it comes to fruition and that the RRF helps.